Hi, and welcome to the She Geeks Out podcast, where we geek out about workplace inclusion and talk with brilliant humans doing great work, making the world a better and brighter place. I'm Felicia.
And I'm Rachel, and it's just us today.
Yeah.
Lucky listeners.
Just the two of us. No one
Yeah.
needs to see me sing, but
Oh, don't sing. Don't.
imagine.
Well, I guess you can, because why not? Safe space. To all of our lovely listeners, we want to ask, how are you? And encourage you to reach out and email us at hi@inclusiongeeks.com or hello@shegeeksout.com. Really, either works.
Anything works. It's all us. It's just us.
It's us. We wanted to have this first conversation of 2025 because we are coming back this year, which is very exciting, to talk about the state of our work in 2025. You may or may not have heard, there has been
Some changes.
There have been a couple of news items, but in all fairness, Felicia and I have seen this process happening over the past year plus. So it's not that it was a sudden shock to us.
No. And I think even just the question, how are you doing? How are we? It's such a loaded question, especially these days. But I was on a community call earlier today, actually, for DEI practitioners in the greater Massachusetts area. So I guess like New England, really. And one of the topics that came up during that conversation was, again, just that, right? Is that for folks who are in this work and doing anything tangentially related, this is not a surprise. I think the surprise and the shock and, the shock and awe and fear and all that is just the speed and swiftness at which we seem to be catapulting ourselves towards anarchy.
Yeah, I think it wasn't so much a surprise. I mean, if we remember back to his last administration, he had already done a lot of work to cut out DEI in government work. What has been not necessarily surprising to me, but I think maybe to others, is the speed with which he has pushed corporates, so private sector, to also fall in line, and for private sector to so willingly sort of succumb to the fears around, frankly, around litigation. And
Yeah, and I would say even not to nitpick on word choices or anything, but I would say it's not even, I think, a major push at this moment. It's more to, reference one of our favorite shows, Game of Thrones. It's corporations willingly bending the knee in advance. And that's disappointing. But, on the flip side, there are certainly lots of tales of organizations and corporations that aren't doing that. Costco, I think, today I saw McKinsey is deciding that they're doubling down on DEI. There's lots of others out there as well.
and plenty that are not getting press.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think that's important to remember and uplift because, you and I both have seen, I think, really a wide range of reactions in our field, not just sort of across the board in general corporate America, but even in our field, we've seen a lot of reactions that range from, the sky is falling down and I'm closing up shop. Goodbye. Good luck. It's been nice, to nothing's changed. We're still doing the work and people are out there doing the work. And what's the big deal? And that's obviously a really very widespread range. We're somewhere in the middle, I guess, on any given day. But yeah,
we're still here. And the purpose of this conversation is really to support you listeners, whether you are working in a company that maybe is grappling with these issues, or if you personally are thinking about how this is maybe impacting how you show up at work. We wanted to just provide a few ways to think about this at this time, knowing that when this comes out, who knows what things will look like. We're recording on Galentine's Day, actually.
So wild, but so true.
So as of February 13th, 2025, we do want to share some tips. So I don't know if, Felicia, you want to kick us off?
I think first, maybe before we even get to the nitty-gritty tips, is just, reiterating what you said, Rachel, which is we're still here, right? We're still here. Yep. We're doing it. One thing that I really appreciate about you and working with you for the past over 10 years now at this point is the work has evolved so much in terms of what we have been doing so far already. And one phrase, if anyone's ever worked with us or hung out with us, you've probably heard us say something around this theme, which is that we've always said, we'll keep doing this work until we can't do it anymore. Now,
Mhm.
we thought that that would mean that we'd fixed all the problems. Not this situation, but I still think that holds very true for today. We're gonna keep doing this work until we're not able to for whatever reason. And the same goes for the podcast. So we're figuring out what that means because, like you said, things are changing so quickly and we are adjusting to it too. And so even with these tips, they may be obsolete by the time you hear them. They may be even more relevant than ever, but we're here to try to figure out what's going on for us and for you all and supporting you listeners as well. So with that being said, I guess the first thing is just really one thing that we have been doing, and I think different DEI practitioners are taking different approaches to this angle, but we have been playing around with the language that we're using. And so one of the things that I love to say is let's slip the spinach in with a smoothie. So you know what? You don't want to eat your greens? Great. I'm going to grind them up and put them in something sweet for you. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how we think about this work. So you don't want to talk about racism or whatever. Great, let's talk about civility, which is literally what people are shifting towards, hot from our front desk. So let's talk about civility. But guess what? What that actually means is we're going to still talk about microaggressions. We might just not talk about it in that explicit of terms, but it's still coming across. And I think as a DEI organization and as practitioners, that's always been kind of the nature of the work. It evolves. We use different language, we use different terminology. And, you talk a lot as well, Rachel, I know about meeting people where they're at. And I think that really exemplifies kind of how we're thinking about this work right now. We're trying to meet the moment where it's at, even if we don't love where it's at.
Yeah, so as we see the language shift, just yeah, noting that that does not mean that we are watering down the actual
Yeah.
work.
Mm.
So yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And I would say another tip, I guess, suggestion for folks is really think about why you're doing this work. So reconnect. It's can be really sort of overwhelming, but I think this is a really great way to ground you in sort of trying to stay present. And so when why is this important? Why are we doing this? What does it matter to you? What is the point of it, right? And even when things look maybe a little bit darker than we would like, I think focusing on that personal deep value reason why you get up in the morning. What is it that you're doing? Why are you putting clothes on in the morning? How are you showing up, right? And why? What is it? Is it about supporting your colleagues? Is it about making sure you're just feeling like you're doing the right thing? Is it that you are thinking about the world in terms that are maybe beyond money? What does it mean to do this work for you? So I think that's an important piece to this as well.
Yeah, and I think when you say things like doing the work, obviously that's going to mean something different for everyone. Like folks like us, we're talking about that in a certain angle. I've been hearing, and I know we've talked a lot about ourselves personally about where we're choosing to spend our money and our dollars. And okay, great. We're not going to shop at whatever it is. I'm like, I can't even pick one of the terrible companies that's out there. Target. Okay. Yes. Anyone who's a longtime listener of this podcast in particular knows that I was like such a ride or die for a
Yeah.
Target, such a ride or die to the
Yeah.
point that my last apartment before I moved out to Western Massachusetts, I literally told my now husband, I was like, it has to be within walking distance of a Target. That was my one of my top criterias. I don't shop there anymore, and I'm choosing to spend money in other places. And I think we also have to be realistic. Some of you might live in a place where you can't not afford to shop at a Walmart or Target because that's the only thing available to you. Right. You have to deal with your realities. But I've also been seeing a lot of folks talk about organizations like PBS, for example, which is shifting in their how they're addressing this moment. And the reality is PBS is very heavily federal funded. And so if they want to survive, they have to make certain choices. And so thinking about what are those choices that we're making and how do we want to sort of show up in that way. And I think a lot of that, to your point of like reconnecting with the why, but also reconnecting with what grounds us. Because I don't know about you. Well, actually, I know about you because we talk about this a lot, but like it is, it is a lot. And it's so tempting to just doom scroll and get super overwhelmed by the news. And I'm not going to lie, I will probably continue to get super overwhelmed by the news at various points in time over the next whatever time frame we're looking at. But I think on the flip side, what's been really important for me is just thinking about, okay, so what can I do to alleviate that, even if it's just a little bit? So for me, I'm really trying to make sure I continue going to my local pottery studio, which is great because you cannot be on a screen unless you really want to destroy it with clay and water. So it's getting my hands dirty, getting, creating, making things. I've been attending so many of these community circles and practitioner webinars and check-ins around that front because it feels good to just connect with other people who are again in this and thinking about things in some of the same ways, and then reconnecting with friends too and just saying, "Let's go out and get a drink," or "Let's go for a hike," or "Get outside," or do something around that frame. So that's kind of what I've been thinking. But what are you doing, Rachel, to ground yourself these days?
Yeah, thank you so much for talking about, like, the sort of getting a hobby. I feel like that is definitely something that is
So
important.
critical these days.
Yeah, and it's something that we had started to think about, I feel like last year too, is like, okay, it's important to do the work, know that you're grounded. And I just want to make one point too, as far as like, aligning our values with where we spend our money. I want to make sure that there's no shame either, that like we are in this like soup of sort of like late stage capitalism where we are all sort of complicit in it. And I think it's very easy for us to blame ourselves for every financial choice we make and every employment choice we make too. So if you are listening and you're like, oh my God, I work for Amazon and they're like doing terrible things and I feel really bad, cut yourself some slack. Like
Yeah.
we still got to pay them bills. If you can find another job, great. The market is kind of wild right now. So like do not add to the chaos with like judgment on yourself on top of everything else.
That's such an important point because I think, like, and there's such extremes, right? And, like, you will
Yeah.
hear people say, like, "You should not work for these companies or spend any money," and I think it's just is really case by case, and, like, it's so
Yeah.
hard to make these fast and absolute rules because just we live in this capitalistic, terrible
Yeah,
society.
we are in the soup. So it's,
Yeah.
and we are not the ones that are all powerful. I mean, at the end of the day, I would love to think that making this one choice, but if we don't do it all collectively, which is really hard for us as a country to do, it's hard to make that kind of impact. I will make a plug. I think February 28th is like Buy Nothing Day. So
Yeah, I saw that. Mhm.
yeah, so if you have that opportunity, I think Buy Nothing is actually a fairly low bar, easy thing to do. So that hopefully can be done, but that's okay. And if you can't either,
Don't destroy your own peace and comfort and safety if you,
yes,
but if you
that
can, then it's a great collective action.
absolutely, that's right. But back to your hobby thing. Yes. So I volunteer at the San Diego Zoo, and that is my happy place. And they do amazing conservation work. And I swear to God, I said, if I come back as anything, I think I want to come back as one of the lovely animals at the San Diego Zoo. They have. I know that there's some people who are very anti, but I think they have a really nice life, and it feels a lot safer than being out in the wild and getting eaten by something,
Well, I was
so
gonna ask, I was like, so you wouldn't wanna be just running on the plains of somewhere?
nope, nope. I'd definitely be the one in the back getting eaten.
You're like,
So
3 meals a day, thank you very much.
exactly. Safe space and 3 meals a day? Delightful.
I think about that with we both are cat owners, and one of my cats is a rescue who was feral on the streets of Brooklyn, New York as a kitten, and we always joke because he literally marched himself inside and was like, "This is nice, I'm not leaving."
Yeah.
And I feel like
Exactly.
that would be like you if you were reincarnated. You were like, "Yep, I'm
100%.
good. No, thanks."
100%. 100%. So yeah, that's probably my main thing. I do wanna talk a little bit too about the news and the staying informed but not doom scrolling, which I think
Yeah, tell
you
me
know
what are the answers? What's the secret?
Well, I will say one thing, and AOC said this, and I am a strong proponent of this. I've been this way for many, many years, is to remove notifications from your phone. Like you don't need a push alert from the New York Times telling you about the like latest garbage that is happening in the world. That's just not going to be helpful. So ingest the news on your own time. I struggle with this as well. I am on a computer all the time, and it's very tempting for me to just pop onto The Guardian or, pop onto some news just to see what the wildness is. But if you can, try to limit it. So I view it as like staring at the don't stare at the sun. Get the nice solar glasses,
Don't burn your eyeballs out.
look at it for like a second, yeah, and then like look away. And I also want to strongly suggest that you be really aware of where you're getting your news sources. I personally have seen a huge shift in media coverage from before January 20th to now on the main news outlets, whether that's CNN or CNBC, or there has been a noticeable lack of any sort of protesting that's happening. There's no
Yes.
coverage on that, which I think is very
Disturbing.
disturbing. It really is. So I've actually been I've been very carefully, and this is a great example of we're in the soup, right? And social media is really problematic, and Meta is an awful, awful company. And yet I will stand by I don't have Facebook, but I will stand by my very selective, highly curated Instagram feed that is absolutely a part of my echo chamber. No doubt I am under no
Yeah.
disillusionment. I'm very clear on that. But what I am getting is news that I can then go and fact check, and that is going to be relevant to me
Mhm.
and what I want to see.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think that trust element is important because trust has been broken in a lot of spaces, including news channels and news outlets. I'm the same way. So I don't have to worry about push notifications because I don't have any news apps on my phones, thank God. But like you, I have eyeballs and I get very distracted by scrolling on all the different platforms. And like you, I still have a lot of social media accounts in various places for various reasons. And I can talk about that later. But one of the things I want to mention is, again, like the sources is really important. So what I have found personally has been really helpful is I know you and I both read The Guardian, which I find to be a great viewpoint because it's outside of the US and so
mhm,
gives a much more objective viewpoint into what's happening both globally as well as within our country. I think as far as trusted sources that I find really amazing right now are Rolling Stone, Teen Vogue,
mm,
Wired. Those are 3 top tier, telling it like it is, speaking truth to power news outlets. I mean, again, Teen Vogue, like, honestly, if you've been doing anything in the last 5, 8 years, like, you already know, but if you don't
mm,
know, you gotta check them out. Like, you think they're not just a teeny bopper magazine. They're really doing amazing journalism. So I think those sources are great. I know there's also a lot of really great newsletters out there as well. So we both read Heather Cox Richardson's Letter from an American. There's Your Local Epidemiologist, which I have been reading ever since 2020 in the early days of COVID, which I think is fantastic. There's a couple Substacks out there that I'll put links in the show notes, but there's a few that I follow that are doing things like reporting on FDA recalls, which is not a thing anymore, but they're reporting things like that, like what medicines and drugs are out there that maybe we shouldn't be using. Dr. Jen Gunter is doing a lot of really great work around women's health in particular. There's the Invisible Woman Substack, which is still out there. And that's an amazing book if you haven't read it, which has been out for a while. So there's a lot of great, I think, like individual places to find news that I think are still trustworthy and relevant and helpful. But yeah, I mean, I don't read the Times or
yeah. Or
Washington
what?
Post or I
Yeah.
mean, talk about democracy dies in darkness, like major eye roll. But
Yeah, it is a really interesting time. And I think so much about how on the conservative side, this is how Fox News built their brand was around distrust of the media. And I do feel a little bit like, oh my gosh, have I become that? But on the other hand, like, the whole reason why we're kind of in this is because there's been an overall distrust in institutions. So
yeah,
here we are. And we have more tips though. Don't go in fact, this is a perfect one to get to.
don't go anywhere.
Don't
Just on that note, what I just was reminded of, so I think you actually may have shared this with me, Rachel, and let me know if that was the case. But was it you who shared I believe she's South Asian, a poet who was talking about the darkness of the tomb? Yeah. So we'll have to look her up. I don't remember her
Yes.
name off the top of my head, but this a very powerful clip that I saw from Rachel, where this woman is speaking, and I think it's like spoken word poetry, or she's
Yes.
just an amazing speaker. But she was basically saying like we have to reframe our thinking. It's not the darkness of the tomb; it's the darkness of the womb, and this is going to be a rebirth. I just thought that was so powerful, and I've been coming back to that imagery a lot in the last few weeks because it does feel, it does feel very dark. But, maybe this is just we're evolving and we're going through change and rebirth, and it's messy and violent, but it's also going to come into something new. So that's, I
Yes.
guess, like my little sliver of hope that I'm clinging to because, the reality is that if we just completely give in to despair and fear and feeling overwhelmed and not caring anymore, then that's when we will have truly lost. Like, that's just the reality of it. And it is so hard to not give in when it seems so terrible. So I know that when Trump was elected, like the rate of suicides and trans and LGBT teens went up, like skyrocketed. And like, I know there's so much fear and just literal despair out there right now. But I also think that on the flip side, again, it's about how do we build community? How do we lean into each other? How do we make sure that we're taking care of each other? And one thing that I've been doing, which I don't know if it's a source of hope necessarily, because it's probably just more stress for me, but I have gotten really involved in my local government lately. So I was appointed a few weeks ago to city council in East Hampton, where I live,
Yay.
and which is exciting. And it's like a whole other job that I'm doing now for very little to no pay and lots of stress. But the reality is, what we talked about a lot and what we learned 8 years ago when Trump initially got elected was that we cannot impact federal level, international level laws and executive orders and changes like that, right? We are not in those kinds of positions. But what we can do is impact our friends, our family, our community, the people that we, are neighbors with. And so I think that's what I've been really choosing to lean into because I can see that, okay, you and I are doers. We want to do stuff. We
Mhm.
want to take action. We can't just sit back. And so we're taking action through Inclusion Geeks and our work and the kind of thing we're talking about right now. But we can also take action, whether it's getting into local government. I was just talking with a friend this morning on Instagram where she was posting a bunch of stories and she was talking about some of the stuff that's happening. And she was kind of balancing it with like taking joy in what's going on, but also talking about the realities of Elon Musk and Trump and what's going on. And she was saying that it's in part because she realized that a lot of her family members had no idea what was happening. And they thought that Musk was just like a kooky, fun guy who's hanging out with Trump
As a
and
kid.
have no clue what is happening. And she was like, I'm trying my best, even if it's just an Instagram story, to try to both not break those connections because it's important not to just get rid of it, but to just keep it going and try to like infuse some of that information and that different ways of thinking into different spaces. So I think again, just like whatever that hope is for you, whether it's again going to the zoo and volunteering, whether it's making art, whether it's calling a friend, like I think just even calling friends the last few weeks has been really powerful to just check in and listen and talk because everyone's going through some variation of something right now.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's true. And I'm gonna acknowledge the fact that there are people out there that are genuinely incredibly excited for what is
Oh,
happening.
sure.
And that is a reality. And so if you are one of those listeners and you're like, I don't even understand
Well,
why everyone is freaking out.
also, why are you listening? I'd love to know.
Well, it's possible. Maybe other people are like curious about, still what what this is about. What
Email us at hi@inclusiongeeks.com and hopefully don't be nasty. Thank you.
Yeah, please don't be mean to us. If you do decide to email us and disagree with what we have to say. We've gotten plenty of those already.
Your comrades have already taken care of it. Don't worry.
Hilarious. Speaking of, I would like to go into this idea. So we know that there's pushback, right? Like we know there has been pushback, for well over a year now, probably going on 2 years now, on the concept of DEI at work. Why are we doing this? Why can't we all just show up And probably my frankly least favorite, but seems to be most potent concern is everything should be based on merit and DEI is not merit based. And so when you're confronted with that, right, as you're trying to do the work and trying to show up for folks, what is it that you can do to address those issues, whether that is from a colleague, whether that is, let's say, if you are in executive leadership, but your CEO, for example, maybe is not a fan of the work, or if you are a CEO and your board is giving you problems, how do you stay true to your values and articulate these concerns that you have in a way that people can hear it? Yeah, Felicia, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or
You're like, "Give us all the answers."
Yeah.
Well, I don't have all the answers, I have some answers. I mentioned earlier I was part of this practitioner community call this morning, and this was one of the topics that came up, and the takeaway was that saying anything is better than complete silence. So even if you can't say much, even just saying it's real wild or it's very complicated or we're working on thinking through what this means or whatever it might be, that's better if you're in these kinds of positions, especially within corporations and organizations, than just completely ignoring the reality, which is that no matter what the makeup is of your organization, there may be people who, like you said, are happy, who are devastated, whatever in between. We're collectively going through a very traumatic time right now because there are just, again, so much change that is happening. And even if you voted for Trump and you're so happy, you're still probably reeling a little bit from what is happening and where are we going with all this. So giving some sort of touch point to say, we're here, we're figuring it out. And it's okay to not know. And, I've been thinking a lot about how a lot of the lessons that we learned in 2020 from COVID response and Black Lives Matter and George Floyd's murder and all the social unrest that was happening at that time frame, a lot of the same lessons that we implemented and learned and kind of put in place then, I think are very relevant now. So again, that goes back to the communication piece. It goes back to making sure that you're checking in with your employees, or if you're an employee and you're not in a position of leadership or management or power, you're checking in with yourself, with your colleagues. It can be really basic. It could just be like we said, how are you doing? And knowing that's a really loaded question, but asking the question anyway. It could be giving, if you're a manager or a leader, giving your employees a little bit more flexibility because I don't know about you, but it's really, really hard to just sit down and do a day's work like quote unquote normal. The distractions are there. So giving some flexibility, allowing for maybe pushing out timeframes or deadlines. Some organizations are reeling from the fact that funding has been cut and they may not know, like there's layoffs that are happening across the board. So there's just a lot of stuff that's up in the air right now. So taking care of each other, if you know someone who's looking for a job, trying to leverage your network, just again, like all the things that sound really simple and basic on the face of it, but they're actually really important. And these simple, basic things, because they're sometimes viewed as so simple, tend to get left by the wayside. So I can't emphasize it enough. Like, talk to your people, send a note out. If you're a leader, this is where you can practice being a little bit vulnerable and saying, like, hey, I don't know what's going on either. Like, I'm figuring it out too. I'm worried. I'm anxious, but we're going to figure it out together. Or I'm here as much as we can be, whatever that might look like. If you're at a bigger organization, and you probably have resources built in already. So, like an EAP program or access to mental health or whatever that might look like. Those are resources that perhaps you already have in place that you can emphasize and remind people that they have access to them. So yeah, just again, like I think communication is really what it boils down to a lot of times is just communication. And even if like let's say your board or the rest of your leadership team is like, how could we say something? We don't know what's going on. We have to go through all these, PR forms and get it vetted and all that stuff. Like, that's fine, sure, but you can still say something, even if
Yeah.
it's minimal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love all of that and just plus one to everything that you said. I think that's so true is just keeping those lines of communication open and providing opportunities for feedback. And I'll just add that I think sort of going back to that meritocracy concept, I think we don't have to sacrifice our values because the concept of DEI is under attack. And the reason is because The reality is meritocracy has always been at the forefront of the work that we are talking about. It is literally about making sure the most qualified person is the person in the job, not the person who has a particular identity. And that is typically what we have seen over the course of humanity, is that the people who are put in positions of leadership and power are people who typically look like themselves.
Mm.
And it's a constant loop. So that's why it's always been about, to be very frank, it has always been about the white man, and it has just been perpetual. And so the actions of the civil rights movement and my gosh, and even like the late 19th century up until now, is there has been in the workplace a push to try to get people other than that to get rights, like not even leadership, right? But just like safety rights, right? Like 40-hour work week, healthcare, for better or worse, as it is now. And so that's always been what this work is about. And so I would say that if you're having feelings around concerns around, oh my gosh, is my company going to get sued? Or if I say the wrong thing, okay, well, maybe don't just focus on race or gender. Talk about it in broader terms. If that is helpful to you, it's still going to yield the same result. It's still going to yield the same outcome, which is we are all on the same page. We want the most qualified person to be the person doing the job. We want to make sure that that is what that is. And what that's not going to always be a white man. And that's okay. And that doesn't mean that there's going to be less I for that person. I like to say, we talk a lot of people talk about like there's fear around like the amount of pie that's being consumed, right? So it's like, oh, well, if I give some pie away, then there's less pie for me. But in my mind, my analogy is, well, if I'm getting the most qualified person to do this job, guess what? We're going to be able to make more pie for everyone. We all are going to get more pie.
I love
Like,
that. It's like, well, let's not get somebody who doesn't know how to bake, but like is the baker's cousin. Let's get someone who's a really good damn baker, and then we'll just keep baking more pie. Like,
I
come on, people,
know.
it's not that hard. Although it is,
Ex
obviously.
It's that fear of loss of power and control that is
Well,
ultimately
exactly.
where we are today, and so that's why I'm just, like, would really encourage, whether you are in that majority identity or not, to continue to have that push for that conversation around what meritocracy is and how it is related to the work that we do. I've written about it many times. I've got my fist in the air about it, so
We could go on forever.
yeah.
But I think it's such an important point is that like what we are seeing is such a in stark relief the reality of what happens when people who have historically and presently had power and privileges for so long, the idea of giving other people power is so difficult because their power is designed by the way it's set up to have others be disempowered. And so I think part of it, and we talk a lot about types of power and like how this all plays out too. And part of it is not understanding that there are different ways to experience and enact power, and that there's a way where it's collaborative, to use the pie now, it's collaborative power where we can all have it together. But we're so like as a society and a country, we're so locked into this structure, which needs people to be disempowered in order to function. I'm gonna totally blank on the name of the author, but there's a short story that has been like popping up in my feeds recently, and maybe it's Shirley Jackson. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But basically, the story is that there's this like utopian society, and it's all amazing, and everything is perfect. But the way that it runs is that they pick a child who they take and lock away in a dark room and like basically starve. And that's the way that the society is able to function because it's only so amazing by being built on suffering of one person in this case. And I just have been thinking about that story a lot lately because I think it goes to this point of we need to figure out how can we get to a better place in these new frameworks and with new ways of being together.
Is it The Ones Who Walk Away
It
or Amalas?
might be, yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's intense.
I know it is intense, but
Yeah.
it's been, like, popping in my head so much lately. But, I think the other thing I wanna talk really quickly about too is, like, this you said it earlier, like, this sort of backlash, attack, whatever you wanna call it, on DEI, it's not new, like, we as folks in the field have seen this coming since, I would say, mid-2022, at least. And so, again, in this conversation I had earlier today, other practitioners were saying the same thing. They're like, "It's not shocking. We knew this was coming." It was, there were a lot of signs out there. But part of it is too, like, this is just the latest thing that people have fixated on to be angry
Mhm,
about.
mhm.
So a few years ago, it was CRT, critical race theory. People were like, that's a legal thing. Why are you freaking out about kindergartners who are not going to be dealing with this? But that was like the big thing that everyone was going after. Now it's DEI. It's going to be something else tomorrow. But the unfortunate thing is that I think the scary thing rather is that we don't want the next thing to be specific groups of people, which is where it seems like it could be going. But there's always been something that people are fixating on to view as the other with a capital O. And
Yeah.
this is what is currently in the crosshairs of being othered as something to be scared of or to be angry about. And in the work that we do, and as a facilitator, if I put that hat on, a lot of times what I think about and what I've thought about in the last, however many years I've been doing this work is there's certainly always resistance. It might look different, it might show up in different ways, and it might be really obvious or really subtle, but it's always about trying to figure out what is the root cause of the resistance because I can't tell you how many times I've had a training or a conversation or whatever with somebody who, let's say, like a middle-aged white man or older person, and they're so anti the conversation. But if you start to have a chat and you start to unpack a little bit of it, you're like, where is this coming from? And then you start to understand the kernel that's inside that feeds all this negativity and fear and violence and hatred. And I think that what gives me hope still is that I think that in the last couple years, we were so violently and abruptly thrown into as a society talking about race in particular. And it was on the heels of having our first Black president, Obama. And I think that we were not ready as a society, which that's a whole other discussion. And I won't get into that at this point, but we were not ready for it, but it happened. And this is again part of this backlash against that. So what we need to figure out is, okay, what is the unifying factor that's going to actually be something that we can agree on to talk about that really is going to highlight what's going on in our society right now? And I really truly believe that if not for what happened with the election in the US, I think it would have been disability, but that's fallen by the wayside. So I think that now it's going to be class. Like I think
Yeah.
socioeconomic class is going to be the one thing that can potentially like really unify all of these different groups of people, no matter what their thoughts are on DEI or wokeism or race theory or whatever it might be, because that's what we're really seeing. We're getting pushed into this discussion. So that's my thought on that.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about that. I think so much about that is correct. I saw someone with a great sign that said, "I'm not on the right or the left, I'm on the bottom," with so many other
Yes. Oh my
people.
God. Yeah.
And I think that that is ultimately it has been a lot of these culture wars, as we all know, have been a distraction that has been perpetuated by the people in power that love that we are divided, right? Because it helps them to continue to get all of the wonderful benefits of late stage capitalism that they have, and it won't be until we as a people, the, 99% come together and realize that ultimately what the issue is that I think we are unfortunately going to continue on with these culture wars, which again, I will say that while DEI may be on its face because that is what the media perpetuates, is a simply about identity, it is so much more than that. It is that, it is so much more than that also. So, and I will just echo with what you said too, and we will definitely put that many things in the show notes. And Valerie Kaur, I believe is that how you pronounce her last name, Kaur. The video, absolutely believe that it is. We are in a time of evolution, and it can feel like death. I mean, that is what evolution does feel like. It is evolving. So I would say we are cautiously optimistic about the future, and we know that we are in for some pain, unfortunately. We got to do this the hard way, not the easy way, as one of my favorite people said recently, Baratunde Thurston, who I love. So we'll do it the hard way, and we'll get there and we'll get through it. And we know that you, lovely listeners, will also get through it with us. We'll be in community with you.
Yeah. I mean, again, at the end of the day, it's about staying connected and not giving in to isolationism or fear. Like, okay, give into it a little bit, but then check in with somebody.
Thanks. Then go for a run. Get
play,
strong.
play Animal Crossing.
Oh my God. I have to say, so Felicia knows this. So back in the beginning of the pandemic, I, like many, many other people, got Animal Crossing. And I actually recently decided to wipe out my old island and start anew here in 2025. And I was playing the other day, and my husband said to me, he was like, he goes, "Yeah, no one can hurt you here." And I was like, "That's right." I just think about that now. It's the funniest thing. Oh, slayed me. Yeah, so find a place where no one can hurt you. And I will just say, just remember that you personally and businesses and teams that continue to stay in your truth and your values of fairness and inclusion, you will come out stronger in the end. And we will do this in community. So, in all seriousness, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. If we can be of any support, if you want us to talk about anything else, if you want us to reach out to anyone else, tell us. We're here. We're in this really, what I love is this interesting place of evolution. So this is a great time to connect with us.
Yeah, it's such a time of possibility, and I know it might seem hard to think of it that way because it also feels like a lot of loss and
It's a
everything.
opportunity. It's a
The
opportunity.
opportunity, but, like, there are so many opportunities that are gonna become available to us collectively and individually, and I think that, again, to your point, if we can just make it through whatever this next chunk of change of time looks like together, we will get to a better place. I know we both really truly believe that. So,
I agree. Chunk of change, but just no pennies. But that's okay.
RIP the penny.
R.I.P. Penny. Well, thank you so much for listening. We want to make sure that you are subscribed to our newsletter. You can find us at inclusiongeeks.com/newsletter. So subscribe to our pod so you can listen to all the fun other episodes that we have from our archive.
Yeah, and don't forget to rate, share, and subscribe. It really does make a big difference in the reach of our podcast and our work, which is still continuing, as we have said. You can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're actually also on Blue Sky and Threads. That's yours truly. So if you see it being super active, just know that I'm probably playing Animal Crossing and trying to avoid the reality of the world, but we're there too. And yeah, just keep in touch with us. Stay up to date on all things Inclusion Geeks and stay geeky.
Yeah.